you can do whatever you want with the left leg. We're gonna have the right foot accessible. So some of you might want to sit kind of like this. Some of you might be more like this. Some of you might be more like this. Doesn't matter. Let me make sure my foot is visible. Yeah. And then just dust it off because maybe you've been walking around barefoot for a little bit. Yep. And then you'll use the other hand, left hand. No, that's your, yeah, left hand to right foot. And see how I'm weaving the fingers in between the toes? It's like a handshake, but with your foot shake. Yeah.
I'll be doing my.
You'll do right. I'm mirroring you, but I keep changing angles.
Okay.
Yeah. It's your left hand, right foot. And then if you can, kind of wedge in all the way down to the webbing. If that doesn't work, just do the best you can. You've maybe never done this before. It's very strange, isn't it? And then you'll use the hand to squeeze and release the foot, the toes. Yeah. And if you have bony toes, sometimes they squeeze the fingers. Yeah. And then relax the hand, but keep it in there. And now use the toes to do this. So they squeeze the fingers. Little toe workout. And in particular, try to do the 3 middle toes because they're the 3 that there's not a lot of awareness in those 3 middle toes. And then we'll pause and use your hand to move the toe hinge back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. Angela, have you ever done this before?
I have not, but I had surgery, so I had.
Yeah, okay.
Joint
be careful. Yeah. Be gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Like pins?
No, like actual silicone cartridge.
Okay.
Cartilage.
Wow, like a hip replacement, but a toe replacement. Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. And then use the other hand to hold your ankle still. And then we'll make kind of little circular movements here, but it's different than this. Yeah, so the ankle isn't really moving, just the upper part of the foot. How about you, Jocelyn? Have you ever done this? No, she's like, this is so weird. All right. And then you'll let go of the ankle. And we'll go around again. Yeah, you might get some noises in there. Crackle. Okay. And then pause there and spread out your fingers. Let the toes relax, and they will be spread by your hand. And then we'll pop the hand out. Each toe gets a little length and just a little bit of a wiggle. And we're not trying to be aggressive here. It's just to create some like a lengthening through the toes. They get all scrunched up when we wear shoes all the time. Yeah. All right. And then our next one here, I'm going to turn this way. You'll have the thumbs on the sole of the foot, and you'll make sort of this pattern from the top of the foot down to the heel. Do that one a couple of times. And then we'll try to kind of fold the foot in on itself a little bit so the sides of the foot kind of come in. And then our last one, we'll make fists and very gently give the foot a little pound on the top and the bottom and on the sides. Cool. Great, and this helps bring some circulation in there. You'll see in a second. Let's be done with that and put your 2 feet next to each other in front of you, just side by side, and see that, just look at the visual difference. Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, and you'll see after a minute or two, the right one won't be quite as fluffy anymore, but let's do the left one. So, dust it off. Used to do this every day. I've fallen off the wagon a little bit. And then we'll put the fingers in between and just, be gentle if you've never done this before. If you have short toes or tight feet, you might just get the tips of the fingers in there, and that's fine. And then once you've done it, you'll use the hand to squeeze and release the foot. And does anybody notice you have a tighter foot?
This one.
Yeah. It's a lot of times the same side of your tighter calf or your tighter hamstring. It's the same line of fascia. All right, pause there and then use the toes to squeeze the fingers. Great. And then we'll relax that and move back and forth, back and forth. That's it. And then let's hold the ankle still and make those sort of circular-ish movements first just at the upper part of the foot. Yeah. And then you'll set the ankle free and let it be the whole foot that gets the foot and ankle together that get to move. Nice. And then we'll pause. Spread your fingers wide, which will spread the toes. And then pop goes the weasel. And take your hand one toe at a time, this little piggy, little length. Great. And then we'll take the thumbs and we'll do that kind of little butterfly stroke from the inside to the sides of the foot. Again. Yeah. And then try to kind of fold the foot in on itself, which seems like just, why are we doing this? But there's it's called the transverse arch, and it goes through the length of the foot, and this helps to kind of reinforce that. Yeah. And then we'll take the hands, just soft little fist, little pound, off on the bottom and the sides. Oh, how lovely. Right. And then see, if you look at them both together, the right one, it's not as fluffy anymore, but all in all, I think it's better off than it was. All right, so we'll just sit for a moment. I'm gonna change screens, and then Sarah's gonna have to push another button. This later, yeah, or that's perfect, thank you. So you can sit really any way that's comfortable for you to sit. And sit well. Maybe you create a little wobble as you kind of find the length through the spine and up through the crown of the head. And if you'd like to close your eyes, close the eyes. If not, keep them open but relax. And just bring your awareness into the soles of your feet. And imagine that you could breathe from here. So, from the soles of the feet, up the legs, up into your body. And then on the exhale, going the reverse direction. Down and out through the soles of the feet. And just take a few breaths like that. From here, the next time we exhale, let the head bow down, let the spine round, the pelvis can tuck under a little bit. Allow your eyes to open. And let's take a few seated cat-cows, just back and forth a few times. Getting a little bit of a warm-up for the spine. Go ahead. And then from here, let's pause right in the center. And take your hands either to a blanket or to the floor, whatever you can reach. Press down to lift up. And then also root down through the sitting bones. And if you're in a cross-legged position, press down a little through the pinky side of the foot. Yeah, see if that helps you create a little more length. And then let's take the arms up overhead and use this lifting of the arms to elongate the sides of the body. Keep that, but relax through the neck, through the shoulders, through the jaw. Good. Let's take one more breath with the arms up high. And then on the exhale, think of all sides of the waist just drawing in towards the midline of the body. Good. And then another breath in. On the exhale, this time let's side bend. Go over to the right side, and you could either just stay still, or if you wanted to create a little rotation, you could do that back and forth a couple of times. Yeah. Good. And then we'll pause here. Let's come all the way up and over to our second side. Yeah, and here too, you could be still or you could add in whatever you want to add in. Great. And then let's come back up to the center and give the wrists a few circles as the arms come down. If you're cross-legged, put the other leg in front. And if you're not cross-legged, get into some sort of this position or this position. And we'll take some circles. Yeah. And if you wanted to here, you could use the arms to create like a one side does a push, one side does a pull to bring yourself around. And that might create a little extra movement around the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Good, let's go the other way. Awesome. And then we'll pause here. And since we're working on the feet today, let's do this. Stretch the legs out long in front of you. And then we'll scooch back a little bit. We'll press forward through the balls of the feet, like Barbie doll feet. Yeah, and then the toes. And then pull back just the toes, spread them wide, and then draw back through the rest of the foot. Exactly. So we're articulating here at the ball of the foot. Do that a couple of times. Yeah, now if you have never ever done this before and you go too hard with it, sometimes the feet will spasm, will cramp. So, be mindful of that and don't do too much. Yeah, next time we pull back, we'll stay. And then let's go the same direction here, just making some slow, big circles. And you can pretend that your foot is kind of on the inside of a jar. And you're trying to scrape out all sides of the jar, which is different from just kind of doing that, yeah? So we're really working the muscles around the feet and the ankles. Let's go the other direction with that. Good. And if you're getting a little tired in the feet, that's good. That means you're working in the right place. Okay. Let's pause here. Just let the feet relax. You can give the legs a little wiggle jiggle. Awesome. And then we'll turn over. We'll meet in the all fours position. Feel free to put blanket or something under the knees if you need extra squish. Yeah. And now as you're here, let's just start with a little spinal movement, and that could be anything at all. Circles, side to sides, cat-cow, shift forward, back, anything really. And then let's pause. Take the right leg back with the toes tucked under. And let's go kind of slowly with this, little push and a little pull. And then some of you might do this. As you push the heel back, you might kind of lift the left knee a little bit and then come forward. If you don't want to do that, just stick with the knee on the floor. Good. And then we'll do last one. Let's take a little hand break before side two. Release the knee. Go back to child's pose here and turn your palms to face up. And let's curl the fingers in and out a couple of times. You can bend at the wrist. Yeah. Great. And then we'll reset back to all fours position. Take the left leg back, toes tucked under, and let's do this kind of slowly, this push-pull back and forth. You can use the rest of the body to create some resistance. And then if anybody wants to here, when you come back, you can lift the right knee. If that's not in the stars for today, just skip that part. Yeah, it's a little extra core work too. Good. And then after we've done that, let's come back again to our child's pose. This time take spider fingers. So you'll go up onto the fingertips. Give the mat a little squeeze as you lift up through the center of the wrist and the center of the palms. Yeah, so it's like you've got a little cupcake under each hand and you don't want to squash it. Good. All right. And then let's reset the hands. Shift forward, adjust yourself so that you can head into downward facing dog pose. And this first one is really just to kind of get there, stretch out the legs. We won't talk about down dog too much for the first round, but don't you worry, we'll get there again and again. Yeah. And then from here, friends, let's either bring the hands to the feet or the feet to the hands. Bend the knees as much as you need to do that. We'll press down into the heels, and then we'll use the inhale to rise. Arms lift all the way up overhead, and then the arms release down. All right. And now from your position here, we'll do a little stretch kind of for the top of the foot, the front of the ankle. I'm going to have my back to you for a second. Maybe I'll face kind of the side. So you'll be on the right foot will step back and you're kind of on the toenails. And then you'll have the hands to the hips, gently bend the knees and shift the hips back a little bit. And you can control how much or how little weight you put on the right side. And then we come back up. Yeah, do that a few times. We don't do this one too often, yeah? To stretch the top of the foot. Now, keep doing that. Likely what happens when we do this is the ankle goes a little to the side. So let's now do a few with the ankle trying to hug in more towards the left. And you'll get less surface area on the top of the foot, but the stretch will likely move. Good. And then we'll come out of that. Release. You can just move the foot around a little bit. And then we'll do the other side. So the left leg comes back. You're on the toenails. And then just very gently bend, shift the hips back. You control how much pressure is on the left foot. And come back up. And do that a few times. And for the first few, a little bit, let the ankle kind of go to the left just a little bit. That's it. And then we'll do a few with the ankle hugging in more towards the midline. Oh, it's some work for the standing leg too, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Okay, that's enough of that. Release. All right. Let's head to the back of the mat. You're already there. And then bend both knees slightly. Let's hula hoop the hips. Go around in a circle. But as you're doing that, let the movement, the weight shift happen extra in the feet. So you'll feel inner edge of the foot, outer edge of the foot, front of the foot, back of the foot. Go the other direction with that. Yeah. Our feet are so important. They're our foundation. Yeah, and we ignore them all day long. We, use and abuse them. Yes. And usually the cuter the shoes, the worse they are. All right, let that one go. And then let's stand. Press down into the feet, especially at the heels. And then on the inhale, let's send the arms up. Exhale, down we go, forward fold. Feel free to bend. Come up halfway. We'll move the chest forward. And now on the way down, let's go to plank pose. We're not going to stay. It'll just be a transition plank pose. Yeah, you can be on the knees if you need. And then from here, we'll come down to the belly. You can either put knees down first or just kind of get there. Yeah? Once you're down on the belly, scooch your legs one at a time back and down just to give you a little extra room for the front of the thigh. And then we'll bend the right knee and either hold on to the foot or the ankle, or you can use your strap. Or if you can't reach, you can roll to the side like I'm doing. Let the knee come forward and then grab a hold. Yeah. Good. Now in your position here, just very slowly, can you point and flex the foot and see if that does anything for the rest of the leg? Yeah. Good. And then we'll release and we'll change sides. If you're laying on one side, roll all the way over. For me, that's not very efficient, so I'm just going to stay here. And then you'll stay there. And then once you're in position, first see if you can find a little lift through the abdomen, and then do a point flex in the foot and see what that does for you, if anything. Yeah. All right. Now this next one I'm not going to do, but I'll tell you what to do. Relax and let go of the leg. We'll stay on the belly. And now in a second here, we'll lift the legs off the floor. And as you do that, think of pulling them back as you lift up and try to lift from the inner thighs. Yeah, you can keep your forehead resting on the hands here. And then put the legs down. Let's do that one more time. Draw back as you lift up. Stay in the up position. And remember that Barbie doll foot. Can you do that here? And reach back through the balls of the feet. Yeah, good. And see if that gives you a little more power. And then lower yourself down, relax. We'll do it one more time. So the legs draw back as you lift. Lift up through the inner thigh. And then once you're up there, press back through the balls of the feet. Barbie foot, yeah. Now, option to stay with the torso and head down, or if you'd like to prop up, you can lengthen forward to lift a little through the upper body. Yeah, any version of that is fine. Good work. Down you come. Bend the knees and give the feet a little swish from side to side. Some windshield wipers. Awesome. Great. And then let's put the legs back down. Head into down dog. Go ahead and get there, and we'll refine it a little bit once you're in position. All right. So let's bend the knees a little bit, or a lot. And then without moving the arms, try to press the hands down and forward so the hips draw back and the sides of the waist get longer. And then at the very, very tops of the thighs, press a little apart. And think of the inner groins kind of heading back and up. Now look at your feet and notice if you kind of roll towards the pinkies. Can you hug in a little bit so you're more over the big toe, the ball of the big toe? And then very slowly start to go straighter in the legs. And it's a-okay if they don't go all the way straight. Yes, good. Stay here. Can you press the right heel downward? It may not touch the floor, and bend the left knee. Oh, calf stretch. Very slowly, very gently, let the pelvis shift a little from side to side. And then we'll do the other one. So the right knee bends, left heel oozes downward, and then little side to side. Holy moly. There will be more calf stretching to come. Let's come back to center, and then your choice, either feet to the hands or hands to the feet. Well, let's widen your stance, rest the forearms on the thighs, knees are bent, and then just move the wrists and hands around a little bit here. Yeah, awesome. And then from here, let's root down into the heels. Use the inhale to come all the way up, and the exhale to set the arms down. Nice job. We'll take our hula hoops again. And then go the other direction. So in a second, we'll take a little bit of balance work. It'll be two legs together, but if you know balance is not your forte, you can stand close to a wall. Let's stand with the feet about hips width distance apart. We'll bend the knees. At first, shift the hips back. Let's take hands. They can either stay on the hips or come to prayer, whichever you prefer. And then start to shift forward, lifting the heels. And try to hug in through the ankles, so you're more on the inner part of the foot than the outer. Yeah. And then slowly, we'll stretch the legs to straight, keeping the heels lifted. If you'd like, you can take the arms up and overhead. Oh. And then down come the heels, down come the arms. Gorgeous. We'll do that twice more, and then we'll reverse the direction. So the knees bend. I know I'm going agonizingly slow. That makes it harder. Shift forward, lift the heels, hug in through the ankles, and then legs start to lengthen. Maybe the arms come up with. Keep the ankles hugging in, and then down you come. Oh, last one here. We bend. Sarah, I'm looking at you. Shift forward, ankles hug in, and then slowly up. She's trembling like a leaf. Maybe you guys are too, I just can't see you as well. And then down come the arms, down come the heels. Oh, that's what I need to work on. Yeah, we're gonna go again, but in the reverse order. How exciting. Let's go. Up we come, lift the heels, lift the arms, hug the ankles in. I find going backwards is easier. Maybe it's not for you, I don't know. Bend. Let's take hands down, heels down, and straight. Good. Yeah, it's easier for you. Yeah. Let's go twice more. Up we come, hug the ankles in. Knees bent, hips shift back, hands to prayer. Heels release down. And back to center. Last one, we can do it. Up we come. Knees bend. Oh, now I'm gonna lose it. Heels come down. And back to center. Oh, okay. All right, well, some of us now know where we need to work a little more. So that was a lot of work for the calves, yeah? Let's do another calf stretch. And I'll suggest just a rolled up yoga mat, yoga blanket for that. I'll face you guys. It's a lot of concentration, isn't it? Yeah. And then let's have your blocks handy on the left side, just in front of the roll. Yeah. And then we'll stand the right foot on it with the toes and the ball of the foot up and the heel down. And then from this position, if you can step the left leg further forward without, falling all over the place, do that. Sarah, you're going the other foot.
Oh no, we're doing right.
We're doing
Other foot.
So the left foot is not on the roll, and it's for most of you guys, it'll be off of the mat, it'll be just on the floor there. Yeah. All right. Now there's a tendency to just kind of sink into the right hip. Can you hug the outer right hip in? On both legs, just barely bend the knees, send the inner groins back a little bit, and then counter that by lifting up through the abdomen. Let's re-straighten the legs. Take the arms up overhead. Yeah. And then use left hand to grasp the right forearm. Pull up and take a small side bend over to the left. Good. Now notice if you're kind of gripping in the front of the right ankle. See if you can relax there. And then return to center, undo the arms, and just do this and let there be a little rotation going on in the upper body. Yeah. And try not to be like robotic about it. You kind of, you're having a good day and you're just swinging the arms. Good. You could whistle if you know how to whistle. Right. And then we'll pause here. And then just a little bit. Bend both knees again. We're coming down. See if you can hinge from the hip creases to come down and land your hands. Now, if this is a big stretch for you, go higher. You can make a little block tower. Still, the knees are a little bit bent. And again, at the very top of the thighs, can you send the inner groins back and then start to let them lift as the legs go straighter. And at this point, some of you might feel like, oh, this is feeling okay. Maybe I go a little bit lower. Some of you are saying, no way, I'm not going lower. Wherever you are is fine. Once you find a height for your hands that works for you, can you take a small little shift of the pelvis right and left? Maybe just like an inch each direction. And notice how when you shift one direction, you'll feel more the inner calf, and when you go the other direction, it's more the outer calf on the right side. Are you guys finding that?
Yep.
Okay. And sometimes one is significantly tighter than the other. And that'll affect our stance, our gait, how we walk, how we move. And then pause when it feels like you're just kind of right in the middle here. Yeah. And now in this position, see if you can draw the pelvis back and create the tiniest little lift of the tailbone. At the same time, can you move the chest forward? Oh, yeah. Can you breathe? That's more important than the chest. Great. And then we'll back up. Put your weight more on the left side to step the right one off. And then let's come all the way up. Lift the arms, stretch the legs, and then send the arms back down. Yeah. Side two. We better, otherwise, that would be weird. So, side two. Left foot goes up there with the heel on the floor, the toes and the ball of the foot on the roll, and then the right leg comes any amount forward. Now at first, This left hip will want to swing wide. Can you hug it in? Tiny bend in both knees. Send the inner groins back. And then counter that by lifting up through the abdomen as you stretch the legs to straight and as you take the arms up overhead. Got this thing in the way. Yeah. And then use the right hand to grasp the left forearm. Up we come. Small side bend over to the right. Try to let go of any grippiness in the front of the left ankle and foot. Yeah. Good. And then we'll come back to center. Release the arms. Take again, tiny little bend. Hinge forward to come down. Land in your hands or, go higher if you need to, but don't go lower quite yet. At the very tops of the thighs, send the inner groins back and apart. And then start to lift them up as the legs go straighter. Oh, there it is. And then maybe you go lower, maybe you don't. And it could possibly be very different on this side. Now, once you find a height that is acceptable for you, let the pelvis take a very small little journey side to side, like you're wagging your tail in slow motion. Notice if you notice more sensation on the inner calf here or the outer. It might be different than it was on the first leg, these bodies of ours. All right, when it feels like you're right in the middle, pause. Just the tiniest amount, can you draw the tailbone back and up? And at the same time, move the chest forward. And at the same time, make sure you're still breathing. Oh, yeah. Great. And then to get out of this, let's shift your weight onto the right side so the left foot can step off. Press down to lift up, all the way up we stand. And then arms come down. We're going to do one more, but before we do, just take a little walk and notice how your walk feels. We've done a fair amount for the feet and for the calves. So you might just have a little bit nicer of a walk. Anybody?
Definitely a more comfortable feeling.
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
More grounded.
More grounded. I'll take that. Yeah. All right, so come back to your spot, and you can move the roll to the middle of the mat. I'm going to face sideways for this one, but you don't have to move. And then we'll have the blocks in front, right in the center. We're going to do 2 feet on the roll. And in some ways, this is actually less intense than the other one. So let's put the hands down first, and then bring the feet up. Otherwise, it's kind of treacherous. Yeah. So the knees are a little bit bent, and have a look. For a lot of us, the knees kind of knock in. And if that's happening, think of the inner knee kind of moving forward and even a little bit out. At the tops of the thighs, can we widen and start to lift as the legs go a little straighter? Ooh. And because now we're even on the 2 sides, you might get more hamstrings than we did before. Can you press down the ball of the big toe, both sides? Oh. And then from here, just like before, take that tiny little tail wag. Right and left, left and right. Holy moly. Yeah?
Glutes.
Yeah, glutes. Okay. Now let me say this too. If you're feeling the majority of pull or stretch right at this sitting bone attachment, that's actually not where we want to be. So if that's happening, go higher in your blocks or make the little tower. Yeah. But if you're feeling it like right in the middle of the glutes, right in the middle of the hamstrings or the belly of the muscle, that's great. That's fine. All right. And then we'll pause when you're right in the middle. Can you draw the chest forward even just a little bit? Are you breathing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. All right, friends, that's that. Let's come off the roll. Little bend in both knees. Root down to rise up. And then the arms back down. Yay. All right, so let's put the roll aside. We will likely use it again in a little bit, but not right away. And let's set up the blocks so they're right at the front of the mat. Yeah, you guys are fine. Yeah, don't worry about us. Okay, so we'll take a few poses. We'll do warrior one a couple of times, and then we'll do something called Parsvottanasana and a non-traditional version of triangle. So let's come to the front, hands right at the top of the pelvis. Stretch the right leg back so that you can set the heel down on the floor. And then we're upright here. And if you kind of look at the foot, if it's on a clock face, it's about somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. And let's press down firmly through the heel and see how that creates a little lift through the torso versus just not doing that. And then go again. So you press, yeah, great. Let's add on, take the arms up overhead and use this lifting of the arms to bring some length into the side body on both sides. Try to keep that length and lift as we bend the front knee. Now for anybody, if you're feeling some compression here in the lower back, hinge forward a little bit. Let's actually, everybody hinge forward a little bit. Lift up through the abdomen. Think about the back ribs expanding and keep that idea as you come back up. Or if you need to stay in that little hinge position, that's fine. Yeah, great. So we'll pause there. Continue to press down and back through the back leg heel. And at the very top of the inner thigh, can you send that part of the leg back like we did in those other poses? Great. Now to get out, we'll hinge forward, take the arms back, lift the back heel, and then just step to the front of the mat. And here we are. Side 2. Left leg comes back. Yep, heel to the floor. And then feel what happens when you really press the heel down. Use the floor to your advantage. Yeah, keep that. Let's send the arms up, lengthen long through both sides of the waist. Keep that. Let's bend the front knee. That's it. And then just a little bit, hinge forward. Think of expanding through the back rib band. And keep that as you come up, unless that feels crummy for you in the low back. And if you need to stay a little hinged, it's fine. Yeah. Stay here. The back heel continues to press down and back. The very top of the inner thigh rolls back, and the abdomen is lifted. Good. All right, let's hinge forward, take the arms back, spin the back heel up, step to the front. Let's go ahead and lift the arms and finish it off, and then release. Yeah. All right, we'll do the same thing again with some more poses added on. So hands to the hips, right leg reaches back, heel to the floor. Press down to lift up, and keep that as we bend. Yeah. The very top of the right inner thigh, send that back. Find that glorious lift through the low abdomen. And then from here, let's keep the front knee bent. Slowly start to hinge forward by hinging at the hip crease. Yeah? Hands will land. Any height of blocks, some of you to the floor. If the blocks aren't high enough, go to the inside and make a little tower. Then from here, think about the left heel pressing forward as the left hip crease draws back. The leg will go straighter. As that happens, the pelvis will want to tuck under and the head will want to drop. Let's bend the knee again. As you go next time, see if you can draw the chest forward and the shoulder blades down the back as we go a little straighter in the front leg. Good, awesome. Now we did this in the other poses. Can we take that little tail wag, tiny, tiny, right and left a couple of times? Yes. Now as you're doing that, bring your attention here to the back of the pelvis and notice if one side tends to be or feels like it's higher than the other. See if you can level them off height-wise, like towards the ceiling. And then when it feels level there, pause. And now go again one more time. See if you can make the tailbone land right in between the two halves of the pelvis. Yeah, and then pause. Let the pelvis drop back. Imagine somebody's pulling it back. As you move the chest forward, shoulder blades down the back. Let's inhale. On the exhale, either back off a little bit or let yourself start to fold deeper over the front leg. Yeah? Take that a few times. Every time we inhale, it's a little more length. And then every time we exhale, you either back off or go a little lower, possibly moving the blocks down a notch. Yeah. Now, those of you who came down, let's come back into that sort of halfway position. Hands right under the shoulders. Yeah. And then, yeah, if you want to sit down for a second, or just take a little break. Everybody who's with me still, take the right hand to the right hip. Can you lengthen the spine? And then leave the pelvis and the legs alone. Start to turn the chest to the right. So it's a little rotation in the upper part of the spine. And then we'll back that off and go again. Lengthen and then turn. Good. And back that off. And last time we lengthen, we turn. Gorgeous work. Let's undo. 2 hands down. Bend the front knee. Spin the back heel up. Step forward. Use the inhale to lift. And the exhale to send the arms down. Nice job, you guys. Yeah. Let's hula hoop it out. Sometimes it's harder to go at that slow pace, isn't it? Yeah, and go the other direction. And everybody did really well. I know sometimes we think triangle and then we think, oh, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, but it's not really triangle, it's just kind of a version of triangle. Yeah. All right, can we do the other side? Yeah. Okay, I think so. So hands to the hips, left leg stretches back, heel to the floor. Press down to lift up come the arms. And then we bend the front knee. Yeah. Nice job here. When we come down, let's hinge from the hip crease. Think forward to come down, landing the hands on probably blocks. And then from here, start to draw the hip crease back without moving the right foot. Try to press it forward. The leg will start to lengthen. And just notice if by default the tailbone came down, the head came down, and you got round. And no problem if you did, but we'll adjust. Let's rebend. Move the chest forward, shoulder blades down the back, and try to maintain that as the leg goes straight again. And it might not go as straight, yeah? You might need to go higher in the hands, no problem if that's true. Now stay here, and just a tiny little bit, we'll take our tail wag. Right, left, right. See if you can sense here if one half of the pelvis goes higher than the other, more towards the ceiling. And if it does, try to level them off. And then try to land when the tailbone is right in the middle between the 2 halves of the pelvis. Stay there. One more time, we lengthen. Let's inhale. On the exhale, either back off a little bit or let yourself fold down over the right leg. Maybe, maybe not. Every inhale is a little length. And every exhale, we either just back it off or go a little deeper. Gorgeous. Yeah. All right, if anybody came down, let's come back into that halfway position. Pick up the left hand and put it on the hip, only if this is a good idea. If you need for balance, just stay down. Let's lengthen, inhale. And then on the exhale, turn the chest a little to the left, but just leave the pelvis alone. Do that a few times. So we back it off, re-lengthen, and then we add in a little bit of rotation. Good. Last one. And then when we're done, let's set the hand back down. We'll rebend the front knee, turn the back heel up, step forward, root down to rise up, and release the arms. Excellent work, everybody. Yeah, just wiggle, just move around. Okay. And then from here, let's do a little, we'll give the legs and the feet a break and do a little stuff for the arms and shoulders. So go get your strap, and some of you did this with me recently, the Miss America. I'm gonna do that one again. So if you have this kind of strap with the buckles, you'll feed the tail through both buckles and then loop it back through just the one. So it looks like that. And then you'll slide it down. So for most of us, the loop will be about this big. Yeah. Let's hold the strap in your right hand. I'll do your mirror. It's like a magic trick. Left arm goes through the hole. Head goes through the hole. And the strap makes a sash, Miss America. Awesome. Now, we want the left hand to go here. The elbow can be bent or straight, doesn't matter, but you want to have a little bit of leverage to be able to push down. Yeah? All right. Once you have that set, press down and a little bit forward. Good. And then tilt your head to the left. Great. Stay here. Sometimes when we do this, the pelvis presses forward. Think of the pelvis going back a little and widening. And then stay on the side, but add in a little yes. That's it. And then keep the chin in and add in a little no. That's it. And then back off. Return your head to center. Let the pressure go. Okay, side two. So just slide it over there. So it's over the left shoulder. Right hand goes down on the bottom of the loop there. If I forgot to say this, if your arm or your head start to feel a little tingly, just move the strap to a different spot. You might be on a weird spot there. So let's press down and forward. And then tip your head towards the right. Oh, this side for me, it's the spot. And then we'll add in that little yes, little nod on the side. Great, let's keep the chin in and then change it to a little no. Good. And then we'll pause and release the pressure. Bring your head back to center. Nice job. Let's remove the loop and then make it bigger. And this is, if your strap doesn't loop, just fold it in half. Let's have a seat. You can sit any way you like. We are going to use the roll for something in a second, but if you need to sit on it, you can just re-roll it later. All right, so we'll hold the strap in front of you like so, with the palms facing up and the strap in between the thumb and the index finger. Yeah. So a lot of us just by default kind of roll the shoulders forward. Let's take the front of the shoulders up, back, and a little bit down without popping the ribs forward. Yeah. Stay here and just very gently, you'll try to pull the strap so there's some tension on it, but you don't want to be so aggressive that it kind of goes up here. We want the work to be around the lower portion of the shoulder blades in the back of the body. Yeah, just hold that. And then back it off and do a few more. So we'll pull. Yeah. And then we'll back it off. And again, we'll pull. And we'll back it off. Nice. Just put the strap to the side and pause for a second and notice if your default seat has changed. Yeah? For me, I always feel like I'm just able to sit up taller more easily after that. Yeah. Cool. So let me show two things that can be done with this roll. Version one is, for some people the tops of the feet and the knees don't like it. You could also put an additional blanket under if necessary. So this is version one. I'm just doing it quickly so you see. And we'll do the little shuffle here. Version two targets the same area. You'll put the blocks like this and put the roll over it like this. And then you can sit here, put the leg up, and then do this sort of thing. So if you don't like having the knees bent, if it feels too intense when you get up there, you want to do this one. Yeah, I'm going to see what you guys choose, and then I'll decide which one to demo. Looks like we've got a mix. We've got a mix. All right. So I'll talk you through the behind the knees version, but I'll say everything. So if you've got the thing behind the knees, you want to really try to wedge it up there as high as you can. And if you are feeling pressure in the top of the foot, come out, do go get a blanket. It really makes a difference. Yeah, underneath. Okay. And then for those of you who are in the seated version, let's have the right on the bottom, the left on the top, and then you'll go like this. No, that's only for them. If you're in this one, I was demoing with my arms instead of the legs. I mean, you can if you want. But if you're in this version, you'll rock a little from side to side. Sarah's so funny. Yeah. Now, those of you who are in the seated version, you'll pause and then either scoot your body a little forward or pull the props back so you get into a different spot. Yeah. Those of you in this version will pause and push the roll back just like an inch or so. And then we go again. Yeah. Now, this version, you might also feel hamstrings here, not just calves. It kind of depends what's going on today. You guys on the floor, I'm guessing you mostly calves, yeah? Yeah, good. All right, so you two are gonna switch legs. If you're with me still, just stay for a little bit.
Start.
Yes, start a little lower down, closer to the feet. And then if you're in this version, let's go one more spot. So scooch back. Good. Oh, and the tissue is like very dense here at the lower calf fibers, Achilles area. Oh, which might, for some of us it feels less intense, for some of us it's more. Yeah, and then you two go to one more spot on the leg. And if you're in this one, we're almost done. For both versions of this, we're getting a cross fiber stretch. So the muscle fibers go up and down in the calf area, and this is helping to stretch this way. You feel like a funk, yeah. In all the best ways. Okay, let's pause. If you're sitting, you'll stay, but just remove the legs from the prop. If you were just in this one, let's join our friends here and stretch the legs out. Oh, yeah. And then let's take another round of those ankle circles that we did in the beginning. And just see, compare. Might move a little more easily. They're a little fatigued, but they feel like there's just more movement in there. Anybody else? Yeah, go the other way.
Getting that peanut butter out of the jar.
Getting the peanut butter out of the jar with their feet, yeah? No one's going to want the peanut butter anymore. All right, you can feed it to the dogs. Okay, so we're going to head into Shavasana here. Let me show homemade bolster variation. 2 blocks side by side. Blanket roll over the blocks. Legs over the blanket. Just an option. Yeah, if you'd rather be without this, that's fine. If you'd rather not lay on your back, that's fine. I'm just going to be sitting here, so be in the position that makes you the most comfortable for Shavasana. As you do start to settle, let's take another little check-in with your body. How does it feel at the end of the class versus the beginning? And bring your awareness all the way down to your feet. And ask your feet just to relax. The soles of the feet, tops of the feet, the toes. Yeah. And let this idea of just letting go, let that start to travel from the feet up throughout the whole body. Bring your attention once again to the soles of your feet. And as the next breath comes in, imagine that the feet, you could breathe from the soles of the feet, up the legs, all the way into the body. And then the exhale is the reverse, going down and out through the feet. And take a few more breaths like that, just breathing from the feet. Yeah. And if it feels good to add in any other kind of movement here, maybe wiggle the toes or another ankle circle. Maybe the arms want to take a little stretch. Whatever it is. And then when you're ready here, we'll bend the knees. And very gently roll to one side. Take your time to come upright. Maybe sitting. Any way you want to sit. Hands will find heart center. Light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.